welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Approach Project podcast. Today we are going to be talking about the very interesting and fascinating topic of quieting the mind. And my guest today is Angela Lyos Braun. And Angela is a Vedic meditation teacher. She's a former corporate world woman, but she now dedicates her life to spreading this type of meditation and creating a ripple effect of peace in the world. So welcome, Angela. It's so nice to have you here.
Oh, it's lovely to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I'm excited about this interview because you're my first guest, and you're the first person that I'm going to talk to about like properly just meditation.
Yeah.
And so I think it would be very nice if we begin talking about you and how you got into Vedic meditation and how it has changed your life.
Sure. Well, I had tried many forms of meditation in the past and nothing really stuck. I was actually a corporate woman. As you said, I worked very long hours. I worked for a company that was international. I used to wake up early and to call the US. I used to work Australian hours, then I'd stay late to call Europe. And I was always on the go. I was doing my exercise in between and before and after, and I was actually working long hours, and I was actually quite happy to be working long hours. I was burning out, but that actually didn't stop me. I just kept going. I was using stress to perform.
To keep,
and
to keep you going.
I really thought that doing well at work was one of the most important things in life, and succeeding in that aspect was one of the most important things. And then nature had something else in store for me. I actually was made to take a bit of a break after I had an exposure to a toxic chemical.
Wow.
And I slowed down a little bit and then eventually just took a little bit of a break. And because I had done meditation in the past, I had just started delving a little bit more deeply into it because I had some time. It fascinated me, especially Vedic meditation, because that was the only thing that stuck.
Okay.
I did a course. I was taught exactly how to do it. I was reaching very deep layers, very profound layers of rest, and it was really helping me. But I wanted to delve a little bit deeper, and I did that, and things started changing from then on.
Fantastic. So that meant that your health changed.
I was able to recover quickly from that incident with the toxic chemical. It took a little while, but in between recovering physically, I was able to spend more time meditating and actually sort of expanding what I see as, awareness, consciousness.
Wow, fantastic.
And that fascinated me. So much so that it actually liberated a lot of stress from me, a lot of inventory of stress from the past, in such a profound way that I just thought, you know what, I need to teach this. I was always a trainer or a teacher in different types of arenas, but I thought this was one of the most important things to teach in life.
Yes. And this is when you changed career.
This is when I began to change careers. Yes, absolutely. I started going to more retreats. I started learning a lot of the knowledge behind this. And that all culminated in a 3-month teacher training in India at the foot of the Himalayas, full time. Really, some deep work, some great teachers, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of learning how to teach this technique, because it is a very ancient technique, and so you also learn about the history of the technique, and it requires a lot of work, but I was up for it.
Fantastic, awesome. Well, since you were talking about the technique, what if we talk a little bit about what Vedic meditation is, because I'm sure not many people know about it.
Yeah. So if in terms of where it sits in other meditations, if we did a Google search on meditation, we'd come up with thousands of results. And we could actually probably put them into 3 categories. You've got your concentration techniques, where you're concentrating on an app, a guided meditation, maybe your breath, or a peaceful scene, a flower, a candle, that type of thing. That's a concentration technique. And then you've got your contemplation techniques, where you're contemplating being a little bit more mindful or a little bit more patient or grateful. Concentration techniques, also known as focused awareness and open monitoring.
Okay.
And everything works on different levels. What Vedic meditation is a transcending technique.
Okay.
So when we are practicing Vedic meditation, we are practicing a transcending technique. And what are we transcending? We're actually transcending thought.
So is that going beyond thought?
Going beyond thought.
Okay.
So what you are doing is you are going to this very deep layer, very silent, still layer inside of you. Everyone has it, even if you think your mind is very busy, even if you think your thoughts are very active, very full, you can get into this silent layer beyond thought.
Oh, wow.
This place of being. No thought, just being.
Oh.
And this place is unadulterated by thought. It's beyond the habitual thinking mind. So when you're there, it's bliss, a supreme inner contentedness.
Yeah.
Nothing else matters.
Fantastic.
And it's beautiful
Yeah.
to know deeper layers of yourself.
Yeah.
And the more you go in there, the more that feeling of bliss imprints into your physiology. You come out and you go into activity and it fades a little bit, but you go in again and a little bit more imprints into your physiology. You go out, it fades a bit in activity, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, until one day you wake up and your baseline is bliss.
Oh.
Bliss.
Wow.
Supreme inner contentedness. And you start acting from that place.
And so what is contentedness?
So in this context, contentedness would be an inner knowing.
Oh.
An inner knowing and understanding. In fact, it's really interesting because when you're here, so say this is thought, individual mind, individual ego, if we were to use a Western terminology, when you dip beyond thought, you're actually going to this place, an inner knowingness, an inner serenity, knowing oneself a little bit more of what you really are. When you have this knowledge, nothing else matters because you know exactly what you are.
Oh, wow. So it's like a type of meditation that really helps you get to know yourself.
Absolutely, what you really are beyond thought. Every icon of peace has said the same thing. Go within, the answer is within. Jesus, Moses, Allah, Buddha, even Confucius said it, even Aristotle said it, know thyself.
Yeah.
And so, that's what you're talking about here. When you're transcending thought, you get an inner knowing that is far deeper than what you have in the outside world.
It's kind of like connecting to spirit within you, to that divinity.
Yes.
Your
On a
divine
very,
self.
very deep layer. That's why we transcend thought, to know big self.
Wow, I love this. I love this actually, yes.
Big self.
Yeah, because it is interesting that most of the types of, let's say, mainstream meditation that you find is controlling your mind, right?
Yes.
It's mind control.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But then I would assume, right, because I actually haven't tried Vedic meditation, but that when you're trying to control it, the moment that you cannot control it,
we can't actually control the mind. This is the thing. We can't command the mind to do something, and if we could, we would all be ideal humans. But we actually need to go beyond thought, beyond all the constructs, beyond all the belief systems, beyond all that, to actually know what we really are.
Wow, fascinating.
It's really,
love it.
It's really fascinating, and that's why people, when they do this meditation, it sticks. It sticks, and because you're doing something, very different, very profound. And nothing wrong with other meditations. They do exactly what they're meant to do. Maybe the emotional centers, or maybe some mindfulness. But with this meditation, you get all that stuff and more, because it's so deep. And actually, we need to go deep today, because we suffer from a lot of stress. And the best way to get rid of stress is actually to rest quite deeply. And that's what the science has found, that actually sleep won't do it. The paradox of sleep is that you're trying to rest, but the stress keeps you up and keeps you unable to sleep as deeply as you can. But when you go to these quite deep layers of rest, what it does, and one thing we know about the body is when it rests deeply enough, it begins to liberate stress, liberate that inventory of stress, because we all have an inventory of stress.
The reservoir there.
The reservoir there, which is just,
Yeah.
these fight or flight moments that we have,
Yeah.
these triggers, actually the body holds on to stress. And, you ask any doctor, people, come in to see them like a normal GP. 80% of people who come to see a GP are suffering from a condition caused by stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many medical journals have said that 80% of disease is caused by stress. There are so many papers written on this. And so it's the body that holds on to stress. How do we get rid of that stress? Resting deeply, because one thing we know about the body is whenever it rests deeply enough, it begins to liberate stress. So we go in, a little bit is liberated, and go in again, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, until one day, as I said, those bliss chemicals, and the stress chemicals have gone out, the bliss chemicals have come in,
yes.
And so, you're moving around with a physiology that's free from a lot of the legacy of stress, the memory of stress, the triggers that have been there for years, and you don't even know that they're there unless you come across some situation that triggers something in you.
Yeah.
So that's why we need to rest deeply.
Yeah, interesting. And so I'm very curious now, because how does Vedic meditation work? So I know that you use a mantra. Could you please explain a little bit more about that?
Yes. In order to go this deep, you have to know how the mind works. And the mind actually is always looking for greater happiness, greater charm. So if we were listening to a melody here, a nice piece of music, and our favorite music started playing out there, our mind without effort would move in that direction.
Oh.
So our mind is actually always looking for greater charm, greater happiness.
Yeah.
So knowing this, we use it and we piggyback off it. So what we do is we give something for your mind to follow.
Okay.
And that something is a mantra. Now, mantra is a Sanskrit word. Manas for mind, tra for vehicle. It's the mind vehicle that gets you to those very subtle states. So if you think of your mind as an ocean, waves up here.
Yeah.
We spend most of our time up here in the thoughts. But we want to get to those subtle states. It's very charming for the mind, but the thoughts keep you up there. So we give you this mind vehicle. It's a bit like a taxi or an Uber. And the mantra is actually a vibration. It has no meaning. It's a bija mantra. It's a seed mantra. It has no meaning. And the nature of a vibration is that it actually gets softer, vaguer, finer, fainter. So think about this mantra. It's getting softer, vaguer, finer, fainter. The mind finds that charming, it follows the mantra, and together it steps beyond.
Wow.
So the mantra is, we use it very effortlessly. We want it to refine. It's softer, vaguer, finer, fainter, like any vibration. It's softer, vaguer, finer, fainter. And so we use that to take us to those very subtle states, to the bottom of the ocean where everything is very still, very quiet, and then eventually we step beyond.
Okay. And with this mantra, do you sing it?
So with this mantra, you think it ever so effortlessly. It takes me 4 sessions to actually teach you how to be effortless with the mantra.
Wow. Okay.
And once you are effortless with the mantra, it gets to do its thing, soften, gets vaguer, finer, softer, fainter, and then you step beyond.
Amazing. So because I love mantras. Personally, I learned, I trained with a lama this year actually, and I learned about healing with Tibetan mantras, and I love them. I mean, I had practiced mantra before, but these ones were like extremely powerful.
Yeah.
So, and I've noticed that whether I sing them or not, they have an effect. Right, so what you're saying to me, it resonates.
It resonates,
immensely.
Yeah.
So this is just fascinating, Angela. And I guess that people are wondering. So, who is this type of meditation for?
It's for everyone. It's for everyone. There are many meditations to suit many different personality types, but this is a one-size-fits-all.
Wow.
Because all you're doing really is you're sitting in a chair,
Yeah.
back supported, head upright, silent, closed eyes, That's all you're doing. You're sitting in a chair. It's for everyone. And it's so effortless. It's one of the most effortless techniques around. It's probably one of the most effortless things you'll ever learn. Not only meditation, effortless meditations, but one of the most effortless things you'll ever learn. So it really is for everyone, especially, people who are, suffer from stress, who have a lot of stress, which is everyone really.
Just everyone at the moment.
Everyone.
Yes. Yeah.
There's a kind of an epidemic of stress. So I read an article recently about anxiety being as common as the common cold,
Yeah, it's become the rule of the day, right? Yeah.
And that's because you just have an inventory of stress, and people haven't learned a systematic approach to relieving it, a systematic approach to relieving it on a daily basis. And all they have to do is sit in a chair, back supported, that's it.
Yes.
With their eyes closed. The most natural thing you can do. You don't have to rush to an exercise class. You don't have to rush, to the flotation tank or a massage. It's actually completely effortless, and you don't have to go anywhere. You can do it anywhere you like.
Awesome.
And all it is, it's a systematic approach to relieving stress.
I love that, because that applies to everybody.
Everybody.
And I assume it can be done anywhere and everywhere.
Anywhere, everywhere. And it doesn't matter if there's noise or anything like that. You can meditate. Even if we're sitting here meditating, there's the leaves, there's the birds, there's all that. It doesn't matter. You can meditate anywhere.
Yeah. And so, since you started teaching, what have you seen and experienced as the most transformational benefits of this practice?